step, something in my jeans. FOI, you know that's the team, huh?
Peace. This is your brother Aidan X, and welcome to the processing class. Peace. This is brother Aidan X. I got a very special guest today, brother Zion X, young brother, 23 years old. I just want to say salam alaikum, brother. How you feeling?
Alaikum salam. I'm doing great. Praise be to Allah. How about you?
I'm doing fine by the grace of Allah. The first question I want to ask you, just getting into this, is how did you get the teachings? Were you born in the nation, or did you get the teachings some different or other type of way?
Okay, so I actually got the teachings in college. I graduated from Kentucky State University, and it was probably like my junior year going into my senior year. I was just sitting in my dorm one day, and I was just like dwelling on, my everyday life. I was getting caught up in the cycle of doing the same thing every day. And I had hit my homie up he was born in the nation, but he's not registered. And I hit him up and I'm like, man, can I come over to talk? He's like, yeah, bro, of course. I go over to his house. We start talking about stuff. And I asked him a question about the brothers in the nation. I'm like, they always looking like they walking upright. They always seem like they got some money and they got a good life. Like what's to that? And he was like, man, bro, I would just encourage you to get the book Message to the Black Men, and we'll talk after that. And so I ended up that probably like a week later, when we went home for break, I ended up buying Message to the Black Men when I went home in Indianapolis, and I started reading it, and it just opened my eyes. And then from there, I just started watching lectures by the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, and it's been the best ever since.
Yes, sir. What exactly in Message to the Black Man blew your mind? Just in particular, I know probably everything, but in particular, what first was what was the first eye opener?
The first couple pages when he said you can't put three into one. And what really what made me keen in a little bit deeper was when he asked the question, did God say that he was a spirit, or did somebody say that of him? And I was like, whoa, I ain't never asked myself that.
Yes, sir. Were you a Christian before?
Yes, sir. Grew up Christian household. Yes, sir.
And how was that experience exactly? Because the Nation of Islam, a lot of people think that's a huge jump. You're going from a Christian to what's considered a Muslim or radical point of view. So what was it about Christianity that didn't change and shape you the way that the Nation of Islam did?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing was because by nature, I felt like I was a spiritual person, but it was like I was missing something in Christianity. Like I wasn't feeling really empowered by it. I would go to church every Sunday, go to children's church, and I would always hear about Jesus, but I'm like, how can I make Jesus real in my life? And when I started really studying the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he empowered us. You get what I'm saying? And it wasn't really a difference per se, in my opinion. He was just giving us the reality of God, the reality of Jesus, and the reality of all the prophets, and how we could use the scriptures and really apply them to our life. So I would say that was probably the biggest difference for me.
Yes, sir. You said the reality of God and the reality of scripture. What is that reality that you learned from the teachings?
So far in my journey, I've learned that you are God. There's a God in you. Obviously, there's a supreme being, right? There's a God who originated the heavens and the earth, but the scripture teaches us that we're all gods, children of the Most High God. And when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad broke that down, I was like, hey, well, I don't got to really sit around and think I'm a worthless piece of nothing and just keep praying to God and I don't have to do any work myself. It's a God up in me. When I started listening and following the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, versus when I was, following Christianity, it was kind of like, we love God, we love Jesus, but I couldn't really stand up on my own 2 feet and bring the type of life that I wanted for myself into existence.
Yes, sir. And who were you like before the teachings, before you came into this knowledge, as a Christian? Because we hear a lot of brothers, they may come from gangbanging, or they come from the party life, or they come from, the sleeping around life, or they just may come from a delinquent life. What was your life, as Zion X, before you was Zion X, before the X? What was that life looking like for you?
For sure. Brother, I was the sleeping around guy. Just getting caught up, keeping it 100, just getting caught up in the fraternity life in college, young. I got my own car, got my own apartment. I was, getting it in every day, drinking, smoking heavy. And even, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I was hearing the teachings, I was still doing that. It wasn't until recently when I was like, I made up in my mind, like, dog, I want to join the Nation of Islam. I got to cut this out. And I don't mind putting this to the side because it's going to make me a better person. So I would say before really following the teachings heavy, I was getting it in.
Yes, sir. And what made you want to, like you said, put it to the side? What made you like put that up? Because, it has to, as a young man, it has to be something strong, to make you want to put away this life, because the devil makes evil fair seeming. So what made you want to? What part of the teachings made you want to change your lifestyle?
It would have to be the part where originally we didn't do none of this stuff, G. You feel me? We weren't a people that just poured liquor all down our lungs. You get what I'm saying? We didn't sleep with multiple women. You get what I'm saying? We didn't smoke till we couldn't smoke no more. We were a productive people and builders of civilization. So getting that knowledge in one ear and then doing that stuff in the other ear, you kind of like having a fight with yourself. But then when you start hearing that the teachings more, it kind of pulls you over like, gee, this isn't you. This isn't you. This isn't you. You're the original man. You're the black man. You strong. And that's what made me start putting it down, easier and easier.
Yes, sir. And, people watch this, they're young. They may be young like you, young like me. And they may be like, I get it. I get the teachings. I see the knowledge and I respect it. But why join the Nation of Islam so young? This discipline, the bow ties, the final calls, the restrictive laws. Why do it so young? And what is the benefit of me doing it as a young man or a young woman?
Okay. Well, that's 2 parts. So first, I would say you got to ask yourself, what type of life do you want? Do you want a life where something is right and you just deliberately just keep choosing wrong? So I wouldn't really trip on the discipline because it is that, but I don't really see it as that because I'm striving to live a righteous life, and striving to live a righteous life naturally comes along with those things: no drinking, no smoking, no fornicating, no, X, Y, and Z. So I never really looked at it as a thing. I gotta get disciplined, it just kind of naturally, flown in. The second part, in terms of the benefits of joining the nation, bro, I had to be straight up. The brotherhood, number one, but 2, the peace that comes with doing the right thing. Joining the Nation of Islam, it's not like somebody is choking you and saying, hey, you have to do X, Y, and Z. It's like, hey, man, I'm offering you a life of doing the right thing. And I have a brotherhood that will make things a little bit easier. The studying, the FOI calls, you get what I'm saying, the reading of the Quran, the praying, it makes you closer to God. And all in all, you get peace from that. And so I would say that that's the biggest benefits of joining the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir. And you said something, it gets you closer to God. Some people watching this may think that do we pray to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or do we pray to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? So people in the nation, do they believe in God, or do we pray to those individuals?
No. So Farrakhan doesn't even pray to Elijah Muhammad. So we all pray to the Most High God, whose proper name is Allah. In the Nation of Islam, we believe in God, we believe in all of the prophets, and we believe in all the messengers. However, we follow in the Nation of Islam the example of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the example of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, but we worship no other than God.
Yes, sir. And but why follow a man? People may watch this, they may say, "Man, I'm a grown man. I know what to do. I know how to lead. Why follow another man?" For those watching
Right.
this.
Well, if you're trying to be good at basketball, and you just now getting into the game, you're trying to become better, you're going to study the greats. You're going to study the ones that do it well. And so if you're trying to be a righteous person, why not follow not only the person that established the Nation of Islam, but the person that is living their life as the best example here on earth? You get what I'm saying? Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a scripture that says, if you were a tree, I would have sent you a tree. You get what I'm saying? Something along that nature. Us being human beings, how we see leadership, we have to see a man possess characteristics for us to follow that leadership. So that's why I would say we would need to follow a man. And naturally, when you follow somebody like the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, dog, they so humble, and they're so wise. It's kind of like, why wouldn't you? You get what I'm saying? It's not by choice. I mean, it's not by force, it's by choice. Why wouldn't you follow a beautiful example like this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Would you consider yourself a Muslim?
Yes, sir. And it wasn't until actually I followed the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where he explains that a Muslim is just a righteous person. It's just one submitting their will to do the will of God. And so I definitely classify myself as a striving Muslim, because every day I fall short, but I'm striving to submit my will to do the will of God and be a righteous person.
Yes, sir. And why not go the Sunni route? Why not go the Orthodox route? Why go to the Nation of Islam, for which many deem as controversial, which many deem as anti-Semitic, racism? There's so much, around the Nation of Islam. Why not go the easy route, or what some people may think is the right route, of the Sunni, the Orthodox, and go to the masjid? Why follow Farrakhan, and why follow the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, I would say first and foremost, the teachings came to North America. All right. And so I'm a product of once slaves here in America. And so the teachings got brought here, the word got brought here. So what do I look like going elsewhere to go outside of the teachings when it has got brought to where I reside? That's number one. Number two, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, man, he teaches us root knowledge. And so in that root knowledge, he teaches us there's no titles on anything, G. There's no Sunni or Shiite or Orthodox and whatever. He's simply giving us a word, and that word is truth, freedom, justice, and equality. And in that, you are considered a Muslim, nothing more, nothing less. And so I never looked outside of that, because I never felt the need to.
But what will you say to people that's watching this and they say, man, you call yourself a Muslim? Well, don't you know we Israelites? So why not accept the Hebrew Israelites and be there with the brothers? Why did the Nation of Islam captivate you? And why did you register to that rather than say, you know, I'm an Israelite?
Well, are we following titles or are we following practices? And if we get down to that, the Nation of Islam, in my opinion, I see them practicing Islam, practicing being a Muslim. And it was something that I really respected and honored. And so that's why I followed that route.
Yes, sir. And what would you say to people that's you know, that's just curious, you know, does the Nation of Islam, personally for you, did the Nation of Islam teach you to hate white people?
Nah, bro, the Nation of Islam taught me the truth about white people and taught me the truth about myself. Um, with all the stuff that we face on a daily basis, G, if I was gonna hate white people, I just got to go outside and look at what they do to us. The teachers don't teach you to hate white people. It just teaches you how to conduct yourself so you won't even have to get caught up in a love-hate thing with the white man. You just build up yourself, build up your people, and you won't even notice the white man is there. So no, sir, I don't hate the white man at all.
Do you hate Jews? Are you anti-Semitic?
No, sir. I hate evil and I hate injustice. I don't get into what people claim to operate under, what sect they belong to. The only thing I hate is evil and injustice, man. So I wouldn't hate anybody because of their faith. Now, if their faith was torturing and killing innocent people, then that's another thing. But no, I don't hate Jews.
Yes, sir. What would you say to people that's, you know, they want to join the Nation of Islam, but you know, they're scared they're gonna be looked upon as soft and corny, and you know, because you see the brothers with the bow ties, you see them standing upright, and you know that's kind of different to this world. This world is used to, smoking that blunt, chasing women or chasing men now. So what would you tell people that's scared of being looked at as weird or corny or, even soft?
Yeah. I would say, bro, how you got to ask yourself, how strongly do you stand on being right? You get what I'm saying? Because we know this world is contrary to God. We know it. We know if God would not be pleased with this world. And so we see the masses of the world and how they go about in their everyday lives, and then you see the brothers and sisters in the nation not better than anybody but striving to be right. And so then you have to ask your question, well, man, I admire the Nation of Islam, I want to join the Nation of Islam, but they may, like you said, may be looked upon as soft and corny and all of that. Then you got to ask yourself, man, do you want to be right or do you want to be accepted? And so once you start reflecting and start asking yourselves that question, I think you'll reach a conclusion.
Yes, sir. And has the Nation of Islam, just going on the topic of women, because the nation, not the Nation of Islam, but the Islam itself has a reputation of oppressing women, abusing women, controlling women. So has the Nation of Islam, or you being a Muslim, has it made you look at women as, being inferior, being lower than you? Has it made you want to be controlling and hit women? And has it just made you want to oppress women in any way?
No, sir. If anything, the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches the value of women. For example, I give you an example right now. When I go to my study group out in Louisville on Sundays, and we escort the women to the car and open the door for them, that's, you feel honored doing that, man. When you look at the sisters in the Nation of Islam and you see that they're covered, you don't get the impression at all, man, the brothers in here is oppressing them and they force them to cover themselves. No, we're taught that they're valuable, and you cover anything that's valuable. You get what I'm saying? So if anything, man, the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me how to value our women. And he did that for me by teaching me that the woman was the second self of God.
Yes, sir. And just going into that, you know, your our parents, your mother, your father, did they or even your friends, were they worried like, man, he's becoming a Muslim, you know, we raised him a Christian, or we grew up with him as, you know, this guy, now he's wearing bow ties and now he's talking that Farrakhan stuff. How did your family and friends react when, you know, you took this turn?
Yeah. So my friends, I'll start with my friends. My friends, for the most part, respect it because they know anything that I associate myself with, they know, all right, man, Zion goes, 10 toes behind what he believes in. They may a couple of them may tease me every once in a while, like get drunk, bro. And I'm like, gee, I don't drink no more. And they're like, oh man, the nation got you. But then they'll leave it alone. But for the most part, bro, they respect it. In terms of my family, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. It started getting a little rocky with my family. And I would say I had a part in doing that first. When I first came into the teachings, I kind of got angry because I was like, man, you mean it's been a truth out here for this long, and we've been going to church and praying to a mystery God. And so I kind of came off wrong. But the more that I'm maturing in the teachings, I'm better able to show them a good example of the teachings. But my family, personally, they weren't really rocking with it. They thought I stopped believing in Jesus. They thought I was worshiping Farrakhan and worshiping Elijah Muhammad. And, you fear what you don't know. And so I would just say that they didn't have a thorough knowledge of it. But now that they see I'm sharpening myself up by the grace of God, they're slowly but surely starting to accept it.
Yes, sir. And just going into, like you was talking about, you know, praying to the mystery God, you know, growing up, what would you say the difference is of the church and coming into Muhammad's mosque?
Ooh, I would say the biggest difference that I have observed is the teachings hold you accountable. Okay. When I was going to church, it was kind of like you hear a good word, but then Jesus will figure it out for you. Dog, go keep smoking, go keep drinking, go and keep doing what you're doing. There's no really any accountability. I would say not only has the teachings made me accountable, but bro, it's gave me a reason to live. It's giving me a reason to go out and be productive as a civilized person in society. And it's taught me to respect myself because just for me, I can say when I was following Christianity, I still wasn't respecting myself.
Yes, sir. And like during Christianity, were you studying the way you did, the way you are now? Were you in the community the way you are now? Or were you dressing the way you are now as a Christian? Or did all these things change when you got the teachings?
Not at all. I was not doing none of this stuff. I was not in the community. Like I said, I would read the same probably 2-3 scriptures on Sunday, and I was just living a life in sin carelessly. With the teachings, I still fall short. I still have my shortcomings. But like I said, you understand, one, the chastisement of God, and two, right from wrong. And so you lean more on the side of striving to do right and help your people. Versus when I was a Christian, I didn't care what I was doing, bro, because I felt Jesus died for my sins. And that was the end of it. I didn't have to face what I was doing. And also, I would like to add that, when I came into the Nation of Islam, you know, you find a beauty in your people, bro. When you realize everything that we've gone through as a people and you receive the truth, it makes you willingly want to get out in your community and help those that may not have the knowledge or that may just need a little push.
Yes, sir. And you just talked about what they did to our people. Some people watching this may not understand. They may have never known the knowledge. Can you go into depth of just a little bit? I know you'd be here all day, of what they did to us, and what is the teachings? How does the teachings tackle racism and, the wickedness that the enemy has done to our people?
Okay, well, I would start with a lot of us here in America as Black people think slavery started in 1619. And the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that slavery here in America actually started in 1555, and that there's 64 years of history between 1555 and 1619 that are hidden. And that was some of the worst mistreatment before we even became slaves. That's number one. Number two, once we were made servitude slaves, they separated us from our mothers and fathers, right? And not only did we have to suffer brutal mistreatment, but we were getting killed off. And this is 3 generations. A generation is 20 years. So 64 years is 3+ generations. And so during this time, we were getting the knowledge of ourself taken away from us, the knowledge of our religion, the knowledge of our God, our history. And so after slavery, those years of slavery, when we get emancipated at the end of the 1800s, we still don't have voting rights. You get what I'm saying? It's still, we're still having to suffer Jim Crow laws, white only fountains and Black only fountains, not being able to go to school with white folks, not being able to go to church with white folks. And then you fast forward to 2022 and you see the chemical warfare, the biochemical warfare that we're suffering under these people, the police brutality that we're suffering under this enemy. And so once you see that long journey and you are able to find out why this is happening to you, and you can connect it not only historically, but scripturally, you're like, man, we have been through a lot as a people. And not only do you see why our people are in the condition that they're in, but you start feeling in your heart, gee, you got to help. You get what I'm saying? We don't know that we suffer all of this and that we're suffering under a psychological handicap from what has happened to us. And so I would say that the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has brought truth to light.
Yes, sir. You just said, all the things that happened to us, but what would you say to people that's watching this and saying, I ain't never experienced racism. I ain't never been called a nigger. I ain't never been denied service. I ain't never experienced, slavery. That stuff is from the past. What would you say to people that say, man, why can't we just move forward and all come together and forget about all that stuff, man?
Oh man, bro, that's a good question, because you can look at it so many ways. A couple things that come to mind is we're not faced with the KKK and white sheets burning up our house and servitude slavery, but we find those injustices on different levels. Take for instance the Trayvon Martin incident. When you're driving in a car and you get pulled over, you feel those tensions naturally because you're at a higher risk of being killed by the police than maybe other ethnicities. When you look in terms of fairness in the job, Man, that shows for itself. You tend to see Black people in lower positions and people of other races in higher positions. If you look at the NBA, the rap industry, entertainment, we don't really own anything as a people, and we haven't really seen an equal level of playing field for our people. And so I would say that we get racism on those other levels that are kind of more hidden and not so out in the forefront, so obvious, but it's still there, it still exists. And I think it's still a natural tension when we're faced with this enemy out in public. And to add another piece, for the most part, white folks don't want to accept us. So forget us wanting to live amongst them. They don't want to. They don't even want to accept us. You see, they moving further and further away from us every day.
Yes, sir. And again, man, just going into that, because this contributes to what we're talking about. I introduced you as Zion X. Why the X? Because that may be strange to a lot of people watching. Why the X?
Yeah, definitely. The teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that during slavery, if you were on the Johnson plantation, well, that white man's last name was Johnson, and the slaves that were on that plantation took on the last name Johnson. And so it would be the same thing if you had the last name Brown, Jackson, Culpepper, Billy Graham, whatever. And so when you see people walking around as Black people here in America today with those last names, you kind of start scratching your head and you're like, hey, man, you're from a people with African descent. Why is your last name Johnson? That's a European name. And so once I found that out and came into the teachings, I was like, oh, yeah, slap that X on me, because I'm no slave and I'm not on no plantation. And this person doesn't own me anymore. So how about I get his name off of me, because it just reminds me that he still has somewhat of a control over me.
Yes, sir. What will you tell people that's like, man, why is that important though? It's just a name. It's just a name, My last name is Johnson because my daddy's last name was Johnson, and everybody's scared of Johnsons back in the hood, back in my hood. So we a proud Johnson family, man. We have the reunions and we got the names on the shirts. So what's the importance of? I don't want to lose my Johnson name. I'm proud of it. What will you tell people that that may have that kind of?
Yes, sir. I would, man. Look, put it like this: if you take for a woman and a man in a relationship, and the man was beating on her, and they got married, and he was still beating on her, and his last name was Kelly, and she finally built up the courage one day and said, man, I'm getting away from this dude. I want to be fully independent. I'm done with him. I'm ready to start my new life. I want to start doing for myself and the people that I care about. And he says, you know what, Kelly, go right ahead. You go do what you do, but you still, everywhere you go, he follows you because you still got the last name of that man that was beating you. It's kind of the same thing with the last names we walk around with here in America. We're not respected by not only them, but people, or our people, I should say, overseas. They don't recognize us either, or they do recognize us, but they recognize us as, man, those are the people that still don't have the knowledge of themselves. Those are still the people that's walking around with the slave master's name. And so let's say we flashing with our cars and our new homes and our good life here in America. We like, man, forget the white man. He don't control me. And the white man just sitting back like, you still got my last name, brother, man. So I would equate it to that.
Yes, sir. And just going into the knowledge of the Nation of Islam, that also comes with the respect. And I've seen it, going soldiering in Atlanta, and I seen so-called gang members or street organizations literally put their guns away when the FOI comes. Why do you think there's so much respect for the Nation of Islam and the FOI in the so-called hoods of North America?
Yeah. I would say real recognizes real. And the similarity between the of Islam and the brothers that's in the hood is both, they both have forms of brotherhood. Um, but the brothers in the hood tend to use that brotherhood to tear their community and their people down. And when they recognize the brothers in the Nation of Islam, they have that same brotherhood, but they're using it to build up their people. Man, they recognize, like I said, real, and they respect the brothers in the Nation of Islam. It's kind of like if you I'll use this example. If you're scrolling on social media and you see a girl that's always, naked, always talking about, I'm busting it wide open, and F you, pay me, and I just want all the attention on me, are you going to approach her with, hey, sister, you want to come to the mosque or church with me next week and meet my mom? Or are you going to be like, hey, man, what you on later? Come over at 12:30 and let's Netflix and chill. You have that immediate respect for people that you recognize carry themselves in a certain light. And I think that's why the Nation of Islam is respected wherever they go, because they carry themselves with so much respect, pride, and dignity.
Yes, sir. Why do you follow, you personally, why do you follow the example of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? Some people may say he's getting old. He's getting old and tired. Some people may say. So why do you follow him and his example?
Yeah. Oh man, that's where it gets emotional. Bro, by the help of God, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan changed my life, bro. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan changed my life, and he gave me a reason to live. And I was catching lectures of him back in the 90s when he was 60 plus, and he's talking like, somebody I would hop on the phone with and I could relate to. You get what I'm saying? He keeps his ears to the streets. He keeps his ear to our communities. He hasn't fell off one bit. And to do all of that and still remain humble, and hearing strength in him when he speaks, and he doesn't bend to our enemy, you have no choice but to follow such guidance by him, man.
Yes, sir. But then he helped kill Malcolm. Ain't he an anti-Semite or racist? None of those slanderous remarks that you hear from the popular media, from what everybody else is saying, none of that's deterred you from following that man?
Well, I like to find truth, put it like that. And so on the surface level, I was one of those people, bro. I'll keep it 1,000 with you. Before I had came across the teachings, I watched the movie Malcolm X, because I actually grew up a lover of Malcolm X. And watching that movie, you would think, hey man, these dudes, they disagreed with him, they had some differences with him, so they got rid of him. That's unfortunately what us Black people like to do, and we don't like to go deeper and find real sound evidence of proof of what really happened. And when you really study and really dig for the truth, you actually find out that the Nation of Islam, and especially the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, had nothing to do with that killing of Malcolm X. And so I would just encourage people to stop being, what Brother Nuri Muhammad says, lazy learners, and actually go dig deep and look at it for yourself. And then you'll find the conclusion that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam had nothing to do with Malcolm X's murder. So that wouldn't bother people. I feel like once they found that truth.
Yes, sir. And I got one last question for you, because I don't want to keep you too long.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate you for coming on my small platform that we're trying to build up. What would you say to those that may be in the position that you were in, that may be lost or maybe find themselves, or and they may even think about registering into the nation. What would be your advice to that young man or young woman that's relating with you, that's watching it right now? What would be your advice?
Man, bro, I would say take your time with yourself, okay? Because this has been a journey up and down, up and down, up and down. And I still have a long ways to go as a young, striving, righteous person. But take some time to learn yourself, learn your flaws, learn where you want to be at in life, where you're at in life, and what it will take you to get there. um and don't be so down on yourself. You get what I'm saying? Because it's all in Allah's will anyway. I'm thankful that I was able to come across the teachings, and I was blessed that it was in Allah's wills for me, in Allah's will for me to find the teaching. So I would say to the young ones that's watching, not only take your time, the time that you need to learn yourself, but ask yourself what you are seeking. And if what you are seeking is truth, if what you're seeking is God, better spirituality, a better life, and you keep praying and asking the Creator for that, I think it'll naturally reveal itself to you. So just be patient with yourself. That's what I would say to young folks that's watching this. Be patient.
Yes, sir. And I just want to thank you so much, man, for coming on my platform. I just want to say, man, I thank you for your time. Thank you for seeing this interview out. With the sick, with me being sick, and you still reached out. You still really wanted to be on here. I really appreciate it. I hope we cross paths physically and be able to work on some more projects together. I would love to come on your podcast. Speaking of that, and I would just want to say Ramadan Mubarak, Salam Alaikum, and brother, I hope to see you again.
Yes, sir, bro. I'm so humbled and honored to be on your podcast. It's a beautiful thing you're doing. I encourage you to keep going, and definitely I hope we can build in the future. Ramadan Kareem, and wa alaikum salam, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you.